Welcome back to Bazaar Morning Call. Well, our research team is now standing by to give you the list of top 10 stocks for the day. There's lots happening with Reliance Retail. So Nisha is here to give us the latest on that. And then, of course, we'll go across to the rest of our team. Nisha, hi, morning.
Good morning, Sonia and Nigel as well as Prashant. Reliance Retail getting its second investor at the $100 billion valuation. So that marks and gives more stamp of approval for this particular valuation for a company where the investors could be expecting an IPO in some time. So therefore, KKR has invested 69 crore rupees, I beg your pardon, in Reliance Retail, and this is done at a valuation in rupee terms at 8.36 lakh crore rupees. And with this, they have bought 0.25% stake. Now remember, for KKR, it's a follow-on investment in the company. They already existed in 2020 in the last fundraise. They had picked up 1.17% stake in the company, and after 3 years, in double the valuation, they have invested more in this particular company, and now their stake stands at 1.42%, and this comes after QIA. So two very important things: follow-on investment by KKR at a much higher valuation, and marks also the $100 billion at $1.2 billion being raised in the second fundraise for this particular company.
Okay, all right, Nisha, thanks a lot for that. Well, let's move on to cement then. And we told you a few days ago that there was cement price hike, and the highest hike, the largest one, came in East India. Now, good news has come in because most of that hike has been absorbed, and they're pushing through another price increase. So Nomura, they've come out with the note. They're saying that there's another price hike in East India. The prices were hiked by around 35 rupees per bag, and there's another 35 rupees per bag that is being pushed through. So I'm looking at three stocks. Novoco, because of their high exposure to East India. The second one that I'm looking at is Dalmia Bharat. And the third one is Shree Cement, relatively less. It has exposure north as well as east. But all these three stocks should be in your radar. And it's good news because demand is strong enough. Price hikes are being absorbed. Well, that's about the cement names. But let's go across to Vivek. He's here to tell us about L&T. They've gone ahead and increased their buyback price. Hi, Vivek. Good morning.
Well, good morning. No, absolutely. So what's actually happened is that L&T has gone ahead, and this is the second large company after BSE to go ahead and increase the price as far as the buyback is concerned. So what they've done is they've increased the buyback price to 3,200 rupees per share from 3,000 rupees a share earlier. However, what they've done is, keeping the total quantum of the buyback the same, marginally increases from 10,000 crore to 10,667 crore. The total equity to be bought back remains at 2.22%. Now, remember, on July 25th, the company had announced a buyback, a total quantum of 10,000 crore at 3,000 rupees a share. Now, R. Shankar Raman, the whole-time director, says that, L&T, the reason for doing this particular increase in the buyback is, number one, it helps them achieve their goal of targeted ROE, that is the return on equity, according to the Project Lakshya. And along with that, they've also kept the market sentiment in mind, keeping in mind the sharp share surge that L&T has seen in recent times.
All right, thanks a lot for that. Well, L&T Finance is another stock that we are looking at this morning. Our colleague Sudarshan has more details on that. Sudarshan, over to you.
The book for L&T Finance Holdings is launched. The PE investor Bain Capital may sell up to 2.62% stake via block deals today from its total holding of 4.04% as of June this year. The floor price for the same is likely at rupees 129.72 per share, which is 0.6% discount to yesterday's closing price. Bain Capital may raise up to $102 million, which is nearly 850 crore, by selling total 6.5 crore shares. Post this share sale, there will be a 90-day lock-in period for Bain Capital if it wants to sell further stake.
Okay, well, that is Sudarshan's debut on TV, I think.
And
right, guys? And
we'll watch out more for him. He's the man with the news.
Yeah, he's the man with the news, the man with the finger on the news, literally. Many more from Sudarshan in the coming days. So thanks very much for that. Well, let's go across to Ekta, who's standing by. Lupin is the story. Lupin is the stock which is next in focus. Ekta, morning.
Morning. Well, Lupin is going to be carving out its API business. They're probably going to look at some amount of unlocking of value from it. So they have announced that they've entered into a business transfer agreement with Lupin Manufacturing Solutions, which is basically a subsidiary of the company. They will be carving out their API facilities each at Dabhasa as well as Visakhapatnam, as well as select R&D operations, including fermentation at Lupin Research Park at Pune. FY23 revenue of this is 344 odd crores, which is 1% of the reported turnover on the business on a standalone basis. So it's very small comparatively. The consideration which is going to be received by Lupin on account of this sale is 750 to 850 crores. So that's the reason why I expect the stock to be in the green. The business transfer agreement is likely to be entered in October 2023, completed by December 2023. No impact on consolidated operations. The other positive for this is that eventually, according to sources, they'll probably even look at unlocking value in the API business via a stake sale or maybe even a listing. We haven't got any confirmation on that, but this is what a couple of people have told me.
All right. Thanks a lot, Ekta, for that. Well, let's go across to Vivek. He's tracking a couple of block deals this morning. There's KNR Constructions, there's Rishabh Instruments. Go ahead, Vivek.
Well, that's right. In yesterday's trading session, remember, Rishabh Instruments actually debuted yesterday on D Street. Positive start. But what's actually happened is that Nippon India Mutual Fund picked up 10 lakh shares at 457 rupees a share. And Quant Mutual Fund also picked up close to 4 lakh shares in yesterday's trading session. The other stock on our radar, KNR Construction, after a while we are seeing a significant, block deal activity as far as an infra company is concerned. HDFC Mutual Fund has picked up close to 15.5 lakh shares. That is almost 0.6% of the total equity. This particular, buy was done at close to 273 rupees per share.
Okay, all right. Thanks a lot for that, Vivek. Well, let's hop across to Surbhi. She's joining in to tell us about some more stocks that are in the news. Surbhi?
Thanks so much for that. So first on my list is Power Grid. The company has been declared a successful bidder to establish an interstate transmission system in the state of Rajasthan. Next is TVS Supply Chain. Now it's a recently listed company, so they've declared their Q1 results. It was a weak set of numbers. The revenues were down 12.4% on a year-on-year basis. EBITDA margins came in at 7% versus 6% same time last year. The company's net loss has expanded to 65 crores versus a loss of 2 crores same time last year. The company said that subdued freight rates and lower volumes have led to a decline in revenues. Additionally, the board has also agreed to acquire equity shares of 3 of its wholly owned subsidiaries for a consideration of 450 crores.
All right, here's a quick recap of our top stocks. Stocks with positive news flow. There's Reliance Retail, Shree Cement, Dalmia Bharat, L&T, Lupin, Rishabh Instruments, KNR Constructions and Power Grid. While stocks with negative news flow, there's L&T Finance and TVS Supply Chain. But we also have a lot of brokerage views for the day. So let's go across to Ekta. She's put together that list for us. Ekta, over to you. What are you tracking?
Well, I'll start with Laurus Labs. Kotak Institutional Equities has downgraded the stock to sell with a target price of 300. They say that after washout Q1 FY24, Laurus's stock has rallied 20%, likely on the worst is behind narrative. But at the current market price, Laurus's synthesis segment is trading at a premium of more than 25% to Syngene. Given the prevalent variance in capabilities as well as scale, they believe this is difficult to justify. Macquarie, and in fact multiple brokerages have written on HUL, I'm picking out two of them. Macquarie has an outperform rating and a target price of 2950 on Hindustan Unilever. They say channel checks point to steady demand trends. They expect 3% year-on-year EBITDA growth, 7% profit growth for Q2 of FY24. Goldman Sachs has a neutral and a target price of 2725 on HUL. They say that the volume and the margin trends are likely to continue lagging peers in FY24. Revenue growth likely to be muted as price growth is likely to turn negative for the rest of FY24. Sequential EBITDA margin expansion is unlikely according to them on account of increased ad spends offsetting gross margin increase. So a bit of a cautious note coming in on HUL there. And lastly, Bernstein has written on Zomato, outperformed, target price raised to 120. They continue to raise the profitability bar with a break-even 3 quarters ahead of target, according to Bernstein.
All right. Thanks a lot, Ekta, for that. Well, the Gift Nifty for now is indicating a start in the green, up about 20 odd points. So we can perhaps build on to our gains in the equity markets. But let's go across to Manisha to find out all the action in the commodity markets overnight. Brent has been hovering around that $90 a barrel mark. Manisha, good morning.
Morning, Sonia. Well, yes, commodities seem to be doing quite well too. The crude oil prices above 90 are very close to its 10-month highs yet again. Output cuts is one part of it, but the street is really watching out for the OPEC monthly report that comes in today, and the IEA report comes in tomorrow, and they will tell us on what are their expectations of global demand forecast. Ahead of that, we have seen buying come in. It's not just crude. The metal prices seem to be trading well too, 1 to 2.5% of gains overnight. This is after the China inflation reading. The markets also here are awaiting for the China retail sales, factory activity. All of that data comes in on Friday. Ahead of that, there is trend that we've seen across base metal sector.
Okay, all right. Thanks a lot for that, Manisha. Well, for the time being, though, we'll slip into a short break. On the other side, Nishal Maheshwari, CEO, Institutional Equities and Advisory at Centrum Broking, will be joining in to help us out with some fundamental analysis. Later on, we'll also be joined by market expert Prakash Devan to discuss the Reliance Retail KKR deal in detail. You stay with us.